I don't know if you know this, but the FBI lost count of how many informants were at the Capitol on January 6th and later performed an audit to figure out the exact number, says the ex-official. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to let that sit in. Mr. FBI, how many informants did you have over there? I don't know. You tell me. This thing is crazy. Some of us were at the Capitol January 6th, including myself. And I said this before, and I'll say it again. You know, I know Jimmy's talked about it all the time, too, as well. You're going to tell me a bunch of Second Amendment guys, people who love the Second Amendment, are going to show up to overthrow the government and forgot to bring their weapons with them? I didn't see one weapon there, guys. I was everywhere. I was at the Ellipse when Donald Trump was speaking, which, by the way, is a 40-minute hike down to the Capitol. So the people who were listening to Donald Trump's speech, and he did even say, and we're going to march down to the Capitol, and we're going to do it peacefully. You know why? Because we're the party of law and order. They weren't even there at the Capitol, the people who heard the speech at the Ellipse. Okay? There was a podcaster or a news person named Tracy Bean who they said they breached the Capitol, somebody had said, and she's like, we're not even at the Capitol yet. We're still marching down here. Right? So it's kind of crazy they try to kind of conflate that and saying what Donald Trump said urged people to go take over the Capitol. No, they didn't. They weren't trying to overturn the Capitol. There were so many people there, and the majority of people who went into the Capitol weren't the majority of the people that were there. I spoke to a lot of people. I spoke to a lot of fathers, daughters, people who had babies, uncles, retired grandparents. They thought they wanted some justice when it came to their election, and they thought their election was a lot of fugaziness in it, and they showed up to protest it in it. And when I was leaving the Capitol, a lot of the people who were marching for the Ellipse that got there, it was almost like they were proud that they marched peacefully. Like they wanted to show that, look at Antifa, look at Black Lives Matter, they're violent. We march peacefully. That's what they wanted to show.
Wait,
the
what?
people who were marching from the Ellipse to the Capitol on January 6th, when they got there, they wanted to show that they can march peacefully. That was one of the points they wanted to show.
Where you should have let all those feds in your group.
Yeah, no shit. Well, did you see this, Kurt? Let me show it again. FBI lost count of how many paid informants were at the Capitol on January 6th.
So
look at it. They lost count.
When that lady couldn't answer Rand Paul, it was because she honestly didn't know because they lost count?
I don't know if they ever had a count.
I can't comment.
I think it just was they're just shutting their mouths because they don't want to let the cat out of the bag. The FBI had so many paid informants at the Capitol on January 6, 2021 that it lost track of the number. It had to perform perform a later audit to determine exactly how many confidential human sources run by different FBI field officers were present that day. A former assistant director of the Bureau has told lawmakers. And that's according to the New York Post.
Well, you don't say.
So this is from Stella Escobedo. Watch. A House committee holds a hearing on Capitol security on January 6th. The former Capitol Police Steve Sun says his request for the National Guards were denied several times. Pelosi immediately called for Sun to step down on January 7th. This is the interview that came out with Tucker. Now here is and they're having, these hearings are going on right now. It's so crazy that we're talking about this stuff. These hearings are still going on. The hearings for the origins of COVID are still going on. They're still talking about these things.
Well, I wonder where it came from.
All right, so check this out. This is the ex-head of the Capitol Police over here. Look what he has to say.
When the police department becomes overwhelmed and we dial 911 because we need assistance, that goes to the National Guard.
Yeah.
It sure as hell would have been great to know that they put out this memo restricting the National Guard from assisting my men and women in advance of January 6th, knowing now that they were so damn concerned about the violence that they were expecting to come on January 6th, and no one ever told me about it.
Why, Kurt?
So that he could be hung out to dry and called to step down on January 7th by Nancy Pelosi, and then that other chick get promoted to work at Berkeley by Nancy Pelosi.
Some would say someone would say that they wanted an incident so big, so crazy that they could use it to then further create laws to not only fund themselves, the Capitol Police.
Craig, on what exactly happened that would even make it in the realm of 9/11.
Dude, somebody put their feet on Nancy Pelosi's desk. There was a shaman who walked in.
They took a dump in it. Well, I thought they at least took a dump in her desk.
They didn't.
For the hysteria from the ding dong. I have to keep watching my language, I guess, and I keep going to ding dong. I'm sorry. the people I talk to, I'll go, do you know how many people died in that? No. I just know that bloody day.
Yeah.
They've even forgotten about it by now.
And they
The
keep
people that
referring
care
it
about
to
yeah.
9/11. They keep referring it to Pearl Harbor. They keep referring it to whatever. Why? Because they
'Cause
just
they don't
want
know
to. They
anything.
want to take away more of your civil liberties. They want to give themselves more power, less
Well,
for
I
you.
know why they do it, but
Yeah.
people I know will bring up January 6th.
Yes.
Like I give a rat's ass about any part of it.
Yes.
Yet they're still not wondering when they're going to catch the pipe bomb guy.
Yeah. What
Where's
pipe
that guy
bomb
that planted the
Yeah.
pipe bomb?
No shit.
They caught a Proud Boy that wasn't even there. They made a text, and he's getting 15 years.
22 years, right?
22 years. Can't find the guy that left some pipe bombs, an actual bomber.
Yeah. With
that guy's going to
cameras.
skate.
With cameras. And I can tell you
Who's
this
on
much.
camera?
Yeah. I can tell you this much too as well. I was there that whole week. We went to the forced to vote thing that Jimmy that was Jimmy's whole thing where he had forced. Jackson Hinkle had thrown it together. Me, Fiorella, Nico House, Steve Poikinen. We all showed up. A bunch of other people. Even Jordan Sheridan's camera guy was there. We were all out there. And we can all tell you this much, that at that event, there was twice as many police with heavily armed, with all the zip ties ready to take us all away. There was like less than 50 of us. There was more security at that event than there was at the Capitol January 6th, a couple days later.
When BLM came to besiege Trump, and they all made fun of Trump, he tried to hide from the protesters.
Yeah.
And there was all military, like,
yeah,
they were making fun of her for being prepared for BLM. For these people, they don't have nothing set up.
No.
For the most evil people there are, Trump supporters.
Yeah.
They weren't prepared.
Yeah. Well, let's listen to the rest of this real quick. And
yeah, that, I mean,
the National Guard, who's only 2 miles from our headquarters, sat and waited for the evening crew to come in. While the Pentagon was still sending resources to protect generals' homes, they sent me nobody to help my men and women.
Okay, and I only have 30 seconds left. When were you finally given the green light to bring the National Guard to the Capitol?
At 2:08 p.m. At
Way too
2:08 p.m.
So that was over an hour after you originally asked.
That is correct. I'm sorry, 2:09 p.m. 2:09 p.m. Irving finally gave me approval, because I still remember where I was sitting, because I screamed to the watch commander, mark the time, because I finally got approval to bring in the National Guard.
And at the end of the day, you lost more of your civil liberties because they got more spying power. They were actually accessing banks, and banks gave over the information of certain people using ATMs by the Capitol, and they were using that to put them behind bars. There's still a lot of people who are behind bars for this. You talked about the Enrique, I forgot his last name.
Enriquez or
whatever. I should know it and stuff.
Enrique, I don't know.
Enrique Tarrio.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Who wasn't even there, now sentenced. It's crazy. Here's Thomas Massey. Like we said, at the end of the day, you lost more of your civil liberties. They gained more power. They gave themselves more money. The Capitol Police, the squad fraud voted for it so they could protect themselves.
Oh,
and you get shit.
From the police people voted for the extra police.
Extra police play. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why that was a stupid slogan. Because now we're gonna get more police than ever, but not for where you want them. To make sure you're not tweeting the wrong things.
Yeah. You know, and that's the funny thing too as well. We talk about the police, that you need some form of police, but right now, and I didn't bring it to the show today, you have the whole police showing up, how stupid they are about the 11-year-old girl saying that she could be charged for have you seen that whole thing?
In England?
No, that was in the United States.
Which
Some
one?
11-year-old girl, right?
It said you look like my grandma.
No. Some 11-year-old girl was being harassed and exploited by an adult man.
What?
Online to give naked pictures or something like that. So he calls the cops. The cops show up 6 hours later, and the cops try to blame the girl, the 11-year-old girl.
What?
You didn't see this?
No.
All right. Well, what we'll do is we'll play this out, and we'll go grab that clip, and we'll end the show with it too as well. Because once again, I don't think militarizing the police is the answer to this. Once again, it's either one extreme to the other. But here's Thomas Massey really quickly questioning Mr. Garland, Merrick Garland, about what happened in January 6th, and kind of pointing out a principle like, oh, you're going to go after all these parents who go to these city council meetings. You're going to go after them. But now all these people over here, watch.
You're citing the Constitution. I'm going to cite it. It's our constitutional duty to do oversight. Now, in that video, that was your answer to a question to me 2 years ago, when I said how many agents or assets of the government were present on January 5th and January 6th and agitating in the crowd to go into the Capitol, and how many went into the Capitol. Can you answer that now?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Oh, last time, you don't know how many there were, or there were none?
I don't know the answer to either of those questions.
How do you not know that? Especially when he asked you almost 2 fucking years ago, and you're the head of the Justice Department. You're not going to know these things? You go get an answer, even if it's a bullshit answer.
There were any. I don't know how many. I don't know whether there are any.
Oh, this guy.
I think you may have just perjured yourself.
Attorney
that you
General
don't know
doesn't
that
know.
there were any. You want to say that again? That you don't know that there were
I have
any?
no personal knowledge of this matter. I think what I said the last time.
You've had 2 years to find out. And the day, by the way, that was in reference to Ray Epps. And yesterday you indicted him. Isn't that a wonderful coincidence? On a misdemeanor. Meanwhile, you're sending grandmas to prison. You're putting people away for 20 years for merely filming. Some people weren't even there yet. You got the guy on video who's saying go into the Capitol. He's directing people to the Capitol before the speech ends. He's at the site of the first breach. You've got all the goods on him, 10 videos, and it's an indictment for a misdemeanor. The American public isn't buying it. I yield the balance of my time to Chairman Jordan.
May I answer the question?
They were going to try to make this guy. They were going to try to make this guy one of the justices. Remember that?
Garland?
Yeah. Obama did when Mitch McConnell was going to run out the clock and we're not going to nominate a Supreme Court justice. This is the guy they put forward. They were going to put him on the bench. This donkey.
Hey, come see us on tour. We're going to be in Tampa, Boca Raton, Orlando, Dallas, Houston, San Diego, Bloomington, Illinois, Indianapolis, and Levittown, New York. Wow, that's a lot of dates. See you there.